Hi guys, my name is Karthik and I am from userautomation.com and welcome to another video of our test project course. And in this section, we are going to talk about test project new features. And in this video, we are going to talk about .NET Core code export feature, which was introduced in test project recently, and it's kind of very popular. And we have already discussed about this in our webinar, but this is something that we are going to talk about in detail in this video. All right, so let's get started. Earlier, we saw recorded code export in Java language binding, and today we are going to discuss an all-new feature of test project exporting recorded code in C# language binding. As you can see, there is new desired options which tell you whether you need to generate the code in Java language or in the all-new C# language. So basically now test project supports you to export your recorded code in C# .NET Core language binding as well, and you can do the exact same awesomeness that you did in the Java language as well, which is pretty cool. So this way we can now leverage the power of test project's C# code, and then we can enhance our existing code in C# language and then upload the code and do whatever that we already discussed in our earlier videos. And again guys, if you have not watched how you can write the C# language binding code, we have already discussed about that, as you can see in here, like writing Selenium C# with page object model in test project, running Selenium C# .NET Core code in local and from the remote machine, creating custom add-on with .NET Core SDK in test project. So we have already discussed about C# language binding earlier, but these codes were something that we hand coded, but now we have an option of even exporting the code right from the platform of the test project. So let's quickly see everything in action and understand how things work. So for that, I'm gonna flip to my Chrome browser right now. Alright, so now I'm in my Chrome browser and I have already logged into my test project platform. And now I'm going to show you the new feature of exporting the code in C# language binding. As you can see, I have already created a project called to do, where I have a couple of tests here. As you can see, the first to do test and any do app test. And this first to do test is a web-based application testing. As you can see, it actually is recorded for the todomvc.com/example/react backbone. So this code is a recorded code, and if you try to execute this particular piece of code, this code actually works as expected. So basically it's going to open a browser and then it's going to do all the steps that I'm looking for. So for instance, if I try to run this test, you can see that it enters all the value in the to-do app, and then it's going to perform some actions over there and also do some assertions. And you can see for clicking this particular checkbox, I have actually used some add-ons here. As you can see, this is a JavaScript action add-on that I have actually used within my code, because that's when it is going to actually click this particular checkbox. So you can see there is this add-on symbol coming in. If I navigate over there, platform actually tells me that I have actually used an add-on over there. So all these add-ons code along with the code which is recorded is going to be generated straight within the test project platform if I do an generate code. So now if I try to go over here within my test code, and once I click this 3 dot over here, you can see that we have this option generated code as earlier. But once I click this, instead of just Java language supported earlier, we now have a C# language as well. So if I just select this, it is gonna export that. Basically I need to choose the correct project here, so I'm just gonna choose that, generated code, and then C#, and then you can see that it's going to show you the browser like Chrome, Edge, Firefox, IE, and Safari. So basically, if I want to execute my code with the Chrome browser, I can just select that, and then I can just generate the code. And if I just hit generate option, you can see that it is generating the code for us, and there we go. We have this particular code being generated, and I have exported this particular piece of code. And maybe I can just show you quickly how the code is going to look like. So I'm just going to open the item terminal, and then I'm going to navigate to the download location, and then I'm going to open the Visual Studio Code. There you go. And you can see that our actual exported code comes in here. So once I open that in Visual Studio Code, you can see that Visual Studio Code is much intelligent enough to tell us that there are some unresolved dependencies available within this particular project. Do you want to resolve that? So I'm going to say restore, which means it's going to restore all the NuGet packages for us. You can see it is restoring the package for us, like TestProject SDK and all the NuGet package reference that I actually need to be referenced. So I can even see the show output to see what's actually happening. So you can see that it has restored all the required packages for us. And if I go to this particular folder structure, you can see that I actually have what is called as an add-on. So this is the add-on that I was talking about, guys, the JavaScript add-on. So with this JavaScript add-on, you can actually see that I have a proxy.dll file for that particular JavaScript add-on, which is something responsible for clicking the checkbox within my application. So it's automatically added for you in the exported code, which is pretty awesome. And now if I go to this particular test, you can see that our test actually is coming in the C# language, not just the Java language. And also the good thing about this particular C# code export is it actually is exporting the code in the .NET Core language binding, which means, as you can see, this machine is actually a Mac operating system, and I could able to run the test in the Mac operating system with C# language as well, which is pretty awesome. So you can see the same code I can run in Linux as well as in Windows, and I can extend this particular code in any operating system basically. And if I just go all the way to this particular code, I can also see this particular click action as a JavaScript action basically. And then I could able to click using this execute proxy. So we'll talk about execute proxies and stuff, like your own way of creating the proxies and stuff in our upcoming videos. But as of now, this is how it actually works. And now if I want to execute this particular piece of code, I can directly go to the terminal over here. And then I'm just going to say .NET run. So once I hit this .NET run, it is going to call this particular runner, where this runner is actually pointing to my dev token automatically to this particular browser, and then it's going to invoke the test which is actually responsible for running it. So basically it's going to call the run method, and within this run method it's going to pass the first to do test, which is nothing but this class, and this class will then execute all the tests for us. And if the test is successfully completed, then it's going to return as true. If not, it's going to return as false. And you can see it's also loading an assembly from this particular path, which is responsible for our JavaScript action basically. So now if I just do a .NET run, you can see that it's going to start running that particular test. So it opened the browser. I can just bring it here. You can see that it's working pretty much like as expected. There we go. And you can see that the execution result is now passed, right? So this is how you can do all those steps from here. So if I want to change this to a different browser, I can also do that. So if I just dot, and then I can change to Safari, and then I can just try to do a .NET run to run the same test in a Safari browser rather running in a Chrome browser. So this is how we can export our code in C# language binding in TestProject platform, which is a new feature and which is really, really great that you can run the same C# code in 3 different platforms. The reason being, TestProject actually exports the C# code in .NET Core framework. So that's it guys. Once again, thank you very much for watching this video and have a great day.